Hello and welcome back to Cactus Green Room with me, Matthew Affron. I've got Deren with us today and we're going to talk about applications. We're going to just see where the story unfolds. I hope you enjoy. Right, so I want to get your take on applications. Maybe tell me about what it was like before joining us, since joining us, what did you use, where's your go-to?
Yeah, okay, so job board wise or applications where they came from before, I used typical job board mediums like Total Jobs, Reed, CV Library, as well as LinkedIn, and also direct applications from my own website. I guess over the course of 12 to 24 months using all those mediums, LinkedIn by far performed the strongest for what I was looking for. And I guess quality wise, from a ratio perspective, LinkedIn always produced better results as well. I mean, I guess application wise, you know, it really depends on the role, depending if it's specialist or niche, where it is. And, you know, I could have anything from, you know, a handful of applications all the way up to 300 to 400 applications. Typically more towards LinkedIn, so much so that before I kind of reduced my spend and my usage with the other more traditional job boards to focus investing more on LinkedIn because it was producing better results.
Did you find that they were targeted though? So like of those 200 applications, do you think that sort of number visually, because it does show it on the screen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
200 on the screen. Do you think it would deter people from applying?
I think so. I think there will be a number of people that take what I would call perhaps a scattergun approach to applying, you know, and it's so easy in this day and age to apply for a job, which is great on one hand because, you know, when they're quite long and laborious, it can put people off from applying. But it's a bit of a double-edged sword because some, you know, you only have to do 2 or 3 clicks and you apply. And I actually think some people don't even actually properly read the job advert because the amount of applications we get that are wrong location, wrong job, you know, looking for contract or perm, want fully remote, but it's hybrid. And it's just simply because it's so easy to apply, is great. But at the same time, you do get a lot of applications that are irrelevant, and that leads back onto what your question is around the amount of volume of applications. I think some people will just apply because they can apply and see what happens, but others will see, you know, it says 248 applications, and they'd be quite downtrodden and disheartened by that because they just think they're probably going to get lost in the ether or oceans of applications, and yeah, then, you know, not get considered. So yeah, I think it certainly depends on, I guess, the mindset and attitude of the candidate when they're applying to that. But I certainly don't think it necessarily gravitates towards a good quality process around candidate attraction from either side, really, when you've just got people applying for the sake of it. But also you're probably missing out on people because they see that you've got 400 applications when actually they could be the perfect candidate.
You're exactly right. So 2 things I can take from that. I worked for Total Jobs for a little bit before moving to Worcestershire to start my family. And Total Jobs had managed to get their click rate down to below 6. So 6 clicks from the moment you click on the job, so 1 click, and 5 later you've applied for the job. So simple. And that was obviously 14 years ago. I'm sure it's probably even quicker now. You know, probably down to 3 clicks or something crazy like that, which is why you see so many sort of, I mean, you'll have seen it. You'll see somebody apply for 5 of your roles, one after another, and it's like, hold on, you don't live in any of these 5 locations. You don't even have the experience of these 5 roles, definitely not all of the experience for 5 roles. And it kind of becomes a bit upsetting for that individual because once you've seen them, you kind of go, I get it, you really need a job, but you're kind of just saying and spraying. What was that one we used the other day?
Pray and spray.
Pray and spray, as Guy likes to say. So it's a shame, and it's unfortunately not the best way to get the best results, but you're right, we're missing out on great people because they'll see the numbers and then maybe deters them from applying. What would you say to counter that? So if you were to say to them, when they see that number, what would you say to not get deterred by it?
I'd probably say let's focus on the number because what I would say about myself and everyone I've seen here at Cactus is every application is reviewed. and you will get a response, whether that be automated or individual. You know, I guess we would love to reply to everyone with individual tailored feedback, but when you're getting 400 applications on one job and we could be working half a dozen, there's just simply not enough minutes and hours in the day to do that. But at the same time, if we do an automated response and someone wants more, they always pick up the phone and we can give that, right?
You're exactly right. Yeah, I mean, we had it yesterday, somebody got the automated response, they came back and went, I want more. And we will happily sit down with anybody who wants that more, but sometimes the automated response is just the quickest and easiest to do for them and us, because they're not right for that particular role. And it could be anything. You know, you're living in Birmingham, you're applying for London, and the client said 3 days on site a week. But not just that, and you're like happy to travel from Birmingham to London 3 times a week. But the client has also said, I only want a 25-mile radius from our doorstep. And then all of a sudden you're having to explain to that person, it's not even down to the fact that you will do that travel. They have made it clear they won't see you unless you're within their search parameter, which we get.
Yeah, I've got it right now with the client.
Yeah, and I get it as well, because sometimes people apply for jobs and, you know, they see that it's London hybrid or London and they're in Birmingham, for example, and they think, well, actually, I put my application in because you just never know.
Yeah.
You know, there might be some flexibility around that, you know, and I understand and I get that. But going back to your original question around should people apply, I absolutely think so, because, you know, you will be reviewed, your application will be considered and looked at. So I wouldn't be disheartened by that, but what I would say, and it seems so simple, just make sure, even though it might take a few more minutes, just read the advert, make sure your skills are aligned, because, you know, at the end of the day, when you're looking for a job, and, you know, there's nothing worse than putting in, you know, dozens upon dozens of applications and not hearing or getting rejection emails. Just make sure that your approach is targeted, quality focused, and in that way your ratios and your responses will be more quality and targeted as well.
What we were saying earlier was the emphasis on phoning, weren't we?
Yeah.
So you and me both said the person who applies but then picks up the phone. What's your thoughts on that?
I like it. I think that everyone's application through me will be considered and reviewed. And if you pick up the phone, it doesn't mean that you're going to have got any more chance or a bias towards being put forward. However, I'm a human being. We're in a job where we enjoy speaking to people. We're in a people business, so we enjoy speaking to people because it gives us that level of engagement. And when you engage, you remember. And the people that you remember are the people that you first call when these opportunities come up. So for me, I actually like people picking up the phone and following up with their application, because it not only keeps them in mind for that, it also keeps them fresh in mind for other opportunities that come up as well. So pick up the phone. At the end of the day, I think the world we're living in now as well, so much is driven through social media, instant messaging, and I get it, and it serves a purpose. But at the end of the day, we're humans, and nothing beats human to human interaction in person or over the phone. So what I would always say is pick up the phone and have a conversation.
The beautiful thing about the phone is as well is the fact that you can be on the fence with a CV that you're reviewing and you will pick up the phone.
Yeah.
But the person that maybe understands already that they might be on the fence with my CV. Look, my CV sort of, you know, they might already know that they are jumpy, but they can explain why they're jumping.
Yeah.
Their CV might read that they're X, but they know that they're applying for Y. And the person that picks up the phone and has that conversation and goes, you might have reviewed it and gone, no, but here's why I am right. And I love that. I absolutely love it. Like the opportunity to listen to that person sell themselves to me when I was kind of umming and ahhing, it gets them over the line. It really does. But the person that will sell themselves and talk me through their experience, you're right, it keeps them in mind, and you might get a new role within a few days. They're just exactly right.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add as well, going back to the volume of applications that we see, and again, it's really challenging and really tough out there at the minute within the job market, you know, because it's, you know, it's not quiet per se, but it's not as busy perhaps in the first 6 months of this year as we've seen in previous years, off the back of COVID. But what I would say is that actually a lot of applications that I receive, and from what I understand that others receive, are from overseas candidates, which we've got no issue with. Right? We
do a lot of
everyone from all aspects of walks of life, and whether you're overseas or not. However, the challenge is a lot of our clients are not necessarily going to offer sponsorship. You know, not going to pay for that. So that's another thing where I probably see on, you know, a role that I'm working on at the moment, over 50% has been from overseas candidates, and they're qualified good candidates, but just unfortunately, they don't have the the capacity to relocate without that support and sponsorship, which my client doesn't offer. So again, you know, as much as you might see 200, 300, 400 applications, I can tell you now, over 50 to 60% are automatically going to be ruled out anyway. So, you know, just kind of get that application in, because we will look at it thoroughly and properly. You don't go into an ATS algorithm as you hear about some clients using, which again serves a purpose, but you know, I don't think anyone should be just ruled out because of keywords on a CV.
Definitely.
You actually want to make sure that if you're going to put the time and effort into putting an application in, that you've actually got a human reviewing it and giving it the consideration it needs. So, you know, that's something that we do here as well.
100%. So, on the back of this conversation today, is there any advice, tips that you would give to candidates in the market?
I think given that how challenging the market is in the sense of how many people are out there looking for work right now, I think it's very easy to just sit in front of a computer and, you know, be clicking and applying for 8-9 hours a day. Actually, I think what's really important is to have balance when applying and looking for work. So set yourself perhaps, you know, a couple of hours a day to do your searching and you're applying, because I just know from personal experience and speaking to other people that, you know, sitting there for 8 hours a day trawling through job boards is quite demoralising and disheartening. So, you know, other things I can say to do is just to make sure, you know, you're looking after your mental health, given the month that we've just come out of, with mental health awareness, around making sure that you're doing the right things, eating, sleeping, connecting with people, getting exercise in, whether that be a run, a walk to the gym, whatever it is. Just make sure that you're doing the other things that make you happy alongside it, because it's very easy, because work's such an important part of our lives alongside our family, and it gives us such purpose and direction, to become quite negative or disheartened around, you know, when you're looking for work. So I would say, you know, just make sure that you're doing a small amount of that a day, coupled with all the things that you enjoy to do, and just make sure that you're connected to people around you as well. Anything you'd add to that?
You know what, you cover it so lovely. I think what I tend to always do when I'm speaking to people is, if I'm not supporting them, but they're doing it on their own, so they're applying and they're interviewing, etc., but they're doing it all sort of directly, I always offer that service. I always say, look, I know I'm not supporting you on those particular vacancies, but if you want to talk them through, because I know how lonely it can be, and you can finish a process and you just want to debrief with somebody like us. That's what happens after one of our candidates' interviews. I always offer that service. I say, I'm not supporting you. However, call me. I'll listen, I'll give you advice, and then obviously encourage you back on that route. And if I can help them in the future or help them now, that's all I want to do.
Yeah, good advice.
Hopefully, you've got a lot out of that. If you've got any ideas of some things we can talk about again in the future, please get in touch. We'd be happy to share our knowledge, wisdom and opinion. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us today. From me and Deren, have a lovely day.